you got in high school, if you persist and persevere, you will achieve your dreams. So, Honorable Speaker, this really should be a great inspiration. And even as I say that, Honorable Speaker, I'll also make on a light note and say those who are actually saying and talking about the opulence on some nominees or some former CSS, who is like the Honorable Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen. I don't know how you'll talk about the Honorable Ali Hassan Joho, who also has a taste for good things. And this should actually go out there in public, that people should know, and every person outside there should know that you are not poor because somebody else is rich. You can actually learn something from a person instead of actually feeling bad that, okay, you are wearing this shirt or you are having a very expensive watch, you are putting on a very expensive watch because you took my money. Which money? I mean, people should be made to understand that people have got different tastes. There are people who love clothes, attires, there are people who love land, there are people who love big cars, and there are also people who love other forms of excitement and even traveling. So, Honorable Speaker, this was a great inspiration, Honorable Speaker, on Ali Hassan Joho. And number two, Honorable Speaker, there was also an inspiration for the young people of Mr. Eric Mureithi Muga, a young man that appeared before you and even confessed not to be having a car. You know, he's been able to maneuver through the systems, maneuver through the network, and that clearly shows that your social network is a social net worth. And today, and I believe that when he gets his first salary, he'll be able to acquire himself a car. So this is a great inspiration. And finally, Honorable Speaker, I'm also very excited by the nomination of Mr. Julius Migos Ogamba. Before he appeared before your committee, Honorable Speaker, in the corridors of Parliament, members were saying that ministry possibly required a career educationist. But the confirmation of his performance truly confirmed that this is a person who is competent to what he was actually appointed.
Give him a minute and wind up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Sorry, I had missed the point that it was 1 minute. So this Julius Migos Ogamba performed very well, and I saw honorable members and even members of the public saying that he exceeded their expectations, being a career advocate of the High Court. That again shows that advocates are all round. They can actually do anything. It can be like you've seen Professor Kithure Kindiki and so many others, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I really want to support this and also tell the nominees that once they assume office, not to make themselves some demigods, not to, develop what we call in basic language big heads, by pride and everything. Find a way to relate with every person and serve Kenyans, and this House will keep them in check on every action that they're going to take while serving in office. I support, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
For Bumula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. And I will start by encouraging my colleagues that our role as members of Parliament is oversight. And we oversight as a House. We don't oversight as part of us. So it's really sickening when some members want to think they are in government or they are not in government, Honorable Speaker. We as a House, ours is to oversight. Not to forget what caused all this is that we had a cabinet that was not able to perform its duties. We had a cabinet that let the president down. We had a cabinet that let Kenyans down. And it gave an opportunity to the president to have a new cabinet, which we hope it's going to help him to serve Kenyans better. Honorable Speaker, we will continue oversighting because it's our responsibility as a House. Some of the colleagues that have joined the cabinet are members of this House. We expect nothing but performance. We expect nothing but good manners. Kenyans expect more that they perform. They have been here. They know things that have been hurting Kenyans, that they go and perform and do good to Kenyans. That was a wake-up call for all of us, that Kenyans are still angry. I urge the President of the Republic of Kenya to continue doing more in ensuring that every other Kenyan must feel comfortable to live in Kenya, by ensuring that we have regional balance, by ensuring that every Kenya, it doesn't matter where they come from, but they must feel part and parcel of this country. And I want to congratulate my minority leader, Honorable Pio Wandai. I want to congratulate Honorable Mbadi. I want to congratulate Honorable Joe. I want to congratulate my big brother, Honorable Paranya, and my sister, the Minister for Health, if we are going to approve them, that I know that they can do a good job. Please don't let Kenyans down. Honorable members, Kenyans out there are still watching us, are still looking at us to ensure that we continue oversighting this government so that we can have a better country for all of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I wish them all good. Asanteni.
For Garsen and of Bura. Member for Bura. Give him the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice onto this very important motion. Honorable Speaker, I want to single out some of the nominees who are before this House today. I want to start by one Honorable Eden Duale, who is a role model to some of us. He was is the area member of Parliament for Ruto'S when I was completing my high school. And we met in this August House while we are both representing our great people. He's a man who has served and who has truly shown his abilities. We are proud of him, and we are sure that he's going to serve the nation as his position as the CS in charge of environment, forestry and mining. I want to also congratulate Honorable John Buddy, who happens to be my chair in Public Accounts Committee. It has never been in doubt his abilities, his skills and expertise in ensuring that he be the driver and steers the country in good direction. I wish him well. I also wish to take this opportunity also to congratulate Ali Hassan Joho, our regional kingpin as well.
Betty Maina, what's your point of order? Member for Bura, take your seat. Give the... Why are you malfunctioning?
Not here to Mr. Speaker, we are not here to pass regional kingpins. We have been having a problem of passing leaders, and then they retreat to regional politics, regional development, or village cocoons. We are here to pass regional, national leaders. So I want him to withdraw regional kingpin. And apologize on that point or not on that order, on point of order.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to reject and continue with my contribution.
Hold on, Bura.
Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka nimkosoe pia dadangu Mheshimiwa Betty akisema regional kingpin. Huyo ndio yuko ni kingpin, hajasema kuwa hawezi kufanyia kazi Kenya nzima. Atafanyia Wakenya wote, lakini ifahamike Hassan Ali Joho ndio kingpin wa Coast Region na kule North Eastern yote. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Order. Member for Bura, carry on.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to conclude my contribution by saying that we support the nominees, and it is in our diversity, our regional background, that our strength lies in that. We are not saying that once somebody is a nominee from a certain area, he serves only that area. He will serve the Republic of Kenya. We are proud of them. We are supporting them. We are wishing them well. And some of the nominees personally interacted. Somebody like the CS for Interior, Cabinet Secretary. His background, being a lawyer, but he has performed exemplary in that docket. He has done well. He has ensured that all the problems within our regionals and our boundaries have been contained. And I wish, and I also want to thank the appointing authority, His Excellency the President, for listening to Kenyans and ensure that he enhances this broad-based government where people are not looked at the lenses of regional and ethnic background, but they are given an opportunity because of the expertise and the skills that they have. I am sure, I don't have any iota of doubt, that all the nominees who have been given those positions, if passed by this House, will serve diligently and will be Kenyans and not regional cocoons and regional kingpins, but will ensure that they have performed. And we are here to support them and wish them well. Thank you, Mr.
Honorable members, before I give the next, I want to acknowledge in the public gallery Ngereriti Secondary School from Konoin, Bomet. Ngererit, yes, from Bomet. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students and their teachers to Parliament. Esther Passaris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to the list of CSs that have been recently vetted. I want to commend the committee under your leadership and that of the Deputy Speaker for the good work that you did, for the transparency of having it aired across all media houses, including social media. I note that you know, when the majority leader was speaking, he was saying that for the one that has been not approved, because she is from Rift Valley, then it has to be replaced by Rift Valley. I feel that it has to be replaced by the best person possible for the job. And when we look at the regional balance, we can see that Mount Kenya got the lion's share. Rift Valley had 4. And if you look at Northeastern, they only had 2 or 1. So I think if we want to have a replacement, we're looking for somebody who is the best person for the job. And we're also looking for a balance in terms of the various provinces that we have in the country so that everyone can feel represented in as far as the original 8 provinces of the country. Mr. Speaker, this country is coming from a very bad place. A lot of people are saying, why did the president bring back the same people? Well, the president didn't really bring back all the same people. He dropped quite a number of the previous CSs and he's formed a broad-based government. People say that when you have a broad-based government, you're not going to have an opposition. I think all of us, whether in government or in opposition, when we sit in committees to oversight, we all are actually supposed to make sure that the right thing happens and the various government arms actually deliver to the people. I think we've been challenged because of the exposés on corruption. As a House, I think we need to really strengthen the EACC. We need to give them prosecutorial powers. We need to make sure that every person that is coming, the president has given you a chance. Those who've come in for the second time and the new ones, we need to deliver to serve the country. And you can see that the Gen Zs are not sleeping. They want a country that will deliver prosperity to everyone and all Kenya. They want us to go in the right direction. We know we haven't gone in the right direction. So let's team up, all of us, 3 arms of government, and deliver for the people of Kenya the dreams of our forefathers.
Kahangara, Member for Limuru.
Member for Larry, thank you.
Sorry, Kahangara. Member for Larry.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And from the onset, I want to say that I'm in support of the report by the committee on appointments. Mr. Speaker, when the President decided to disave or send the ministers home as a result of what we know happened in this country, I am sure that the President, having looked at the ministers or the CSS for that matter for the period of about 1.5 years, he was also just getting ready to do reorganization so that he can be able to get the team that will be able to deliver on the plan that he promised Kenyans. And with that, I want to congratulate him for the CSS, some of them who were reappointed, CSS who we have already seen that they did very, very well in their various ministries. And I can single out ministers, for example, Chilchil, who was in the Ministry of Energy, and he has done very well in terms of electrification within the country. And I'm sure in the next docket, where he's going to be the Minister for Roads, he's also going to work as hard and ensure that areas that have been marginalized, that includes Larry, will be taken care of, and they're going to get the infrastructure that we require. Ministers like Alice Wahome, who has also been able to work in the Lands Ministry, where, of course, we all know the kind of corruption that has been going on there, the digitization and trying to put up the records in the Ministry of Lands in the right manner. And I think that is going to solve a lot of issues of land problems that we have had, among other ministers who have been working very hard. Mr. Speaker, I'm one person who has been in support of cabinet secretaries coming from the National Assembly, or having served as politicians. And in this case, Mr. Speaker, including the President and the Deputy, we have 13 members of the cabinet who have gone through the National Assembly. And this is now going to bring some synergy where government policies will be solved, because having been politicians, they know how to communicate to the people. They will be able to take the message to the people on what the government is doing on the ground, and I'm sure they will be able to do a good job. I want to congratulate all of them, wish them well in their various ministries, and ask them that the issues of opulence and service to Kenyans should be across board, where all Kenyans will feel that indeed they belong, and we can see development across board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Susan Kiamba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the time to make my contribution to this very important motion. And I think as we look at these nominees, Honorable Speaker, we must look at the back under what backdrop, where did we have a second selection of cabinet. I think, in my own opinion, Honorable Speaker, the major challenge we are facing as a country, which the President clearly declared, we had a cabinet that was incompetent. And there was the issue of exclusion, which came out very clearly. Honorable Speaker, as I sit here and listen to the committee report, I just wonder, as a specialist in issues technical and the capacity building, how was the capacity and the competence developed for over 70% of the cabinet in less than a month? So I really feel very, very cheated as a member of parliament with the fact that within less than a month, people did not have competence. 70% of them gained competence. So I really want us to explore the tools. Honorable Speaker, my concern is we need to explore the tools.
Order, Susan. Honorable Susan. Yes, Alicia?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What begs on my mind is when she's talking about competence. There are two things. There's competencies and competence. What does she mean? Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I am not apologizing. I'm not an Englishman, neither a woman. I'm a Kamba, and I know he understands his competence. Just to continue, Honorable Speaker, the other point was the issue of inclusion. And in particular, the inclusion was the inclusion for the youth. When we appoint only one youth, seemingly youth, is that an inclusion? I think we are being selfish as adults. And when the youth complain, we are not including them. Especially when we have over 50% of the population of this country being youth, I think it is not. Allow me, Speaker, can you protect me? I can't even contribute because of unnecessary noise. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. When we look at the population of Kenya, we have over 50% youth. When all the old men and whatever, women are few, get all the cabinet slots, are we genuinely? I think that is still exclusion for the youth. I don't see inclusion in that. Secondly, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Susan, there's a point of order from Owen Bayer.
I can breathe.
You know, Honorable Speaker, listening to Susan, she says that 80% of the cabinet has no competence, whichever it is, competences or what. Then she comes and tells us that we are being selfish because we did not nominate youth. The youth that, in her words, actually do not have the competence. So that contradiction does not speak for the Kamba community. They have higher competencies than that.
Understand his point because I stated very clearly. The president declared himself and said he is disbanding the cabinet because he's incompetent. When 70% comes back, it is assumed they have developed competence. I'm just wondering what tools were used to check that competence that within a month came up. I am feeling this was more political manipulation than actually what we are looking for as Kenyans.
Time up. Women rep for Tarakaniti. Okay, give her 1 minute to finish.
Honorable Speaker, and this is among the few dissenting voices which have not been given time. Honorable Speaker, I think I have been into an integrity class, and integrity does not mean the law, you must have been accused in law. Even when people doubt you and what you stand for, matters trust is an integrity issue. We have a case where somebody was accused by ESCC that he was corrupt. And the people brought evidence that there was that. Even that doubt in itself, chapter 6 of our constitution, that person is already disqualified. The last one, what I see is political manipulation of joining numbers of UDA and the ODM to get a supermajority, but not a genuine concern to give Kenyans competence. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Go on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me a chance to contribute to this very important motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, first of all, I want to thank the committee on appointment for banning their midnight oil and bringing such
Order. Order. Honorable Susan, when you spoke, you are listened to. Also listen to others.
Go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for protecting me. I'm thanking the Committee on Appointment for finding time and banning the midnight oil, Mr. Speaker, sir, and bringing to us this list that has been brought to us by Mr. President. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank the President for considering almost everyone. What I'm finding most in this list is inclusivity. The President considered social class, the President considered the religion, the President considered different backgrounds, and Mr. President considered gender and youth. Mr. Speaker, sir, this list shows people with a great integrity. I want to congratulate mostly Professor Kidore Kedeke, a gentleman that I've known for the last over 30 years, since his early childhood, Mr. Speaker, sir. A very selfless man, a very committed man, a very dedicated man, and I wish and pray that even the other nominees, if approved by these honorables, will follow his steps. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also want to congratulate a young man from the farthest corner of Meru region, Eric Moreithi Moga, a humble man that I've known for some time, a young Adventist man from Mwamba, Seventh-day Adventist, Mr. Speaker, having known that Seventh-day religion or Seventh-day denomination is one of the minority denominations in the Eastern region. But Mr. President went and looked into him and considered him for this position, and the Adventists in the entire region in Meru have really appreciated this. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to agree that we do mistakes occasionally, Mr. Speaker, and I know the entire nation is watching. Whether at executive level, whether at judiciary level, whether the legislative level, Mr. Speaker, sir, we've always done mistakes. I want to say that our God is a God of forgiveness. Is a God that has been giving us chances, not twice, not thrice, not 10 times, Mr. Speaker, sir. We pray that we give our president a second chance by approving this list of nominees, Mr. Speaker, sir. But going forward, the issue of public participation. We are where we are, Mr. Speaker, sir, because public participation in this country is not effective, is not...
Atandi. Atandi.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. And let me begin by supporting the report from the vetting committee. Honourable Speaker, the Constitution says that the Cabinet should reflect regional and ethnic diversity. I want to agree that the nominees that are before us truly reflect the face of Kenya in the area of regional and ethnic diversity. Honourable Speaker, I am one of the people who prodded the President to make certain appointments, and I'm happy that my friend John Badi is going to be the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury. Honourable Speaker, the ministers come from certain regions, but they are not supposed to work only in those regions. Honourable Speaker, the cabinet that is dissolved had some ministers who are notorious for turning their offices into their ethnic enclaves, where if you visit a minister's office, you only find this minister busy with their people from their villages. I want to urge the new ministers who are coming on board that even though you come from a particular region, you must understand that you are going to serve the people of Kenya. Yes. We had one from my region, Honourable Speaker, that every weekend you would find him distributing relief food from each village to the next. And I asked him to ensure that he serves the people of Kenya. Honourable Speaker, I'm happy that that minister has not been retained. So I want to tell the ministers who are coming on board to ensure that they serve the people of Kenya. Secondly, Honourable Speaker, when we talk about opulence and wealth declaration, because Kenyans have said that the vetting process did not question the nominees about their sources of wealth. They only came and said, I am worth 500 million. Honourable Speaker, I think the biggest question here is for these nominees, because we know most of them. We know how they lived and how they have been living. If tomorrow they begin to live certain life which we don't understand, then we will have to question them, because some of the ministers who have been removed from cabinet today, we knew them. There were people who were just eating omena and madondo with us. But then they began to eat at Serena and to dress expensively. So that is the question that we need to ask as a house. And lastly, Honourable Speaker, we said that the President took some of our members into his cabinet. I want to agree with my party leader that some of the members who are taken from our side are experts. Honourable Speaker, we want the vetting exercise. We watched it live. And Honourable Speaker, I am convinced that the members who came from the ODM party, the 4 of them, they have demonstrated capability, they have shown competence, and I know that they are going to serve the people of Kenya. I want to wish them well as they take over. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Bowen.
Finally. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the committee report. And Mr. Speaker, I want to...
Honorable Bowen, as you speak, members, because of the interest being overwhelming, can I encourage you to speak for 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Starting with Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I want to start by saying I want to support the committee recommendation, Mr. Speaker, on all the cabinet secretaries, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to specifically talk about the Honorable Kindiki, who has really worked hard in Kerio Valley to make sure that we have a peace in Kerio Valley. though, Mr. Speaker, we still have some challenges of insecurity in Kerio Valley. Mr. Speaker, I want also to thank the Honorable, His Excellency the President, for nominating again or reappointing Murkomen. Mr. Speaker, Murkomen was condemned, Honorable Speaker, and the Ministry of Roads, Mr. Speaker, is the ministry with the highest public debts. It is the ministry with the highest pending bills. Mr. Speaker, it was very difficult, but I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, he really tried the Honorable Murkomen. And even as he moves to the sports, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Murkomen, I'm very sure that he's going to excel in that field. Mr. Speaker, I want to also thank the President for nominating my good friend, the Honorable Mbadi. And with all the skills on the Honorable Mbadi has shown, and the experience he has shown even in this House, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure that going to Treasury, he is going to use his knowledge as a serious accountant and expertise in finance, Mr. Speaker, to turn around the economy of this country and to make sure that our economy grows. Mr. Speaker, I want to really talk about the nominee who was rejected. Mr. Speaker, it was very unfortunate. I wish the committee would have shown us the marks. Who scored the highest and why he scored the lowest, Mr. Speaker. Because it was wrong to condemn the lady, Mr. Speaker, because of what UNED said that they were considering about including the physical looks. Mr. Speaker, I hope she was not dropped because of that. So, but anyway, Mr. Speaker, we want to ask His Excellency the President to consider her in another position. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Farah Maalim.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, this cabinet is the most representative, both in terms of form, substance, equity, equality, and diversity since we got independence in this country. Mr. Speaker, I commend the President for looking at the four corners of this country and making sure that we're looking for the best. Mr. Speaker, I have been around for quite a long time. I remember the first cabinet of this country, how it was, all the way to the one we have here now. I think this country is better united today and more cohesive with this kind of a cabinet than it has ever been in the history of independent Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I am also confident that these ministers or CSS cabinet secretaries will do a good job. And just like that, on a cursory look, I see a number of good people who have done a good job previously, who are again featuring in this. Kindiki, Davis Chirchir, Duale, and many others, many others. And then I also see some very good, powerful, fresh blood like Mbadi. Mbadi has been in the Public Accounts Committee from the days we were in Parliament, me and you here, in the 10th Parliament. So he knows exactly what goes on in... Mr. Speaker, can I have one more minute? He knows exactly what happens in Treasury, inside out. And I'm sure he's going to do a very good job. Mr. Speaker, let's give this cabinet space. Let's support them. Let's support our president in this case because this country has got to be kept together. Those who are running around with all these demonstrations and the rest, I have seen what a failed state.
Done. John Waluke. I added you a minute, yes. Yes. Give him 1 minute.
Thank you.
Give him 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I have seen what a failed state is like. People were laughing the other day, yesterday, that Bangladesh civilians have gone and taken over the State House. Bangladesh is under military rule today as we talk. It's under military rule, and watch what is going to happen. Mr. Speaker, the same thing that we are seeing here is what was in Sudan. Young students, my daughters went to school in Sudan, going out there and demonstrating and saying revolution, revolution, revolution. What do we have today? 15 million people displaced, over 1 million people dead, and a country that has no hope for the next 30 years. Mr. Speaker, let us save our country. Let us give our president sufficient space. This is the first time we have a president who is willing to reach out to every sector of the society and debate with them. and we're calling him all sorts of names. That's not fair. Let's give him a chance, and let's see how this thing can be pulled out of where we are now and how we can take our country to the next level of.
John Waluke.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance also to contribute on this report, committee report, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the President for the appointment. It is a national outlook, Honorable Speaker, because every side of the country, Honorable Speaker, at least one person is chosen. And Honorable Speaker, what we want is that these CSS who have been nominated by the President should help him to work closely. At least we are, as a country, Honorable Speaker, we've gone back about 1 year or so because of what happened. And so this Honorable CSS should be very keen. Honorable Speaker, I'm happy with the President appointing Honorable Opio Andai and Honorable Mbadi. They are going to show their competence because if they fail, Honorable Speaker, they would have failed us as colleagues and a House as well. Honorable Speaker, this country needs unity, all of us at least, to come together. We forget our differences, political differences, so that we help the President to carry on with his mandate that the Wananchi gave him, elected him as the President of Kenya. I want to thank even the other side, Honorable Speaker, that we are joining together as a team of this House to make sure that we support this country. Let's put our country first.
Your time is up. Member for Malindi.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, nasimama hapa kuunga mkono haya majina yote yenye ambayo yameweza kuteuliwa na Rais William Samoei Ruto ili kuweza kuwa mawaziri katika baraza la mawaziri. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunashukuru pia sisi kama wanawake 5 wameweza kupatiwa nyadhifa kubwa mbalimbali, na ni haki yetu sisi kama wanawake ya kusema ya kwamba tunashukuru. Tunashukuru pia vile vile tumeona kijana mmoja ambaye ameteuliwa katika Wizara ya Maji, ambapo tunajua sisi kama vijana pia hili jambo limekwenda kutufurahisha Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi niko na mambo mawili tu kuambia wale mawaziri ambao wameteuliwa. Jambo la kwanza ni kwamba hatutaki watu wa yesa Mheshimiwa Spika. Tunataka watu ambao wataketi na rais na kuweza kumwelezea rais na kuweza kumsaidia rais kwa sababu ya Kenya iweze kusonga mbele Mheshimiwa Spika. Hawa ni watu wenye ambao watakuwa kwa karibu sana na rais, na wao hawafai kuwa ni watu wa yesa. Wanafaa ni watu ambao wataweza kusaidia hii hali ya Kenya Mheshimiwa Spika. Ni onyo tu Mheshimiwa Spika ya kwamba wale mawaziri wengine wamekuwa ofisini miaka 2 na kwa sababu zisizoepukika wameweza kuachiliwa wengine. Hata wao hivi saizi wajue ya kwamba wanakwenda kupatiwa kazi, lakini Wakenya wako chonjo, na wasipofanya kazi yao vizuri Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi kama Wakenya tunakwenda kuanguka na wao. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Mwengi Mutuse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me from the onset to support the report of the Committee on Appointments as relates to the approval of political leader of the Maendeleo Chap Party. Allow me to thank His Excellency the President for retaining our founding party leader, the Honorable Dr. Alfred Mutua, in his second cabinet as the CS for Labor and Social Protection. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I am too well aware of the role of Parliament under Article 94 of our Constitution, and also particularly the role of the National Assembly under Article 95 of the Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, part of our mandate is to raise the concerns of our people. And I want to particularly address the cabinet secretaries whom we are approving today, to tell them that their work is cut out. We are churning out 3 million young people every year into the job market. And these young Kenyans want jobs. It is the role of cabinet to very urgently create jobs for these young people. And to create those jobs, the economy must grow by double digit. And therefore, you have no time for luxury. The role of parliament will be to oversight. The role of parliament will be to make sure that there is no corruption. The role of parliament will be to make sure that ministers do not enter into comfort zones, sit in their offices, and they do not move around the country doing what they are supposed to do. And we want to encourage them, as they do their job, to also understand that parliament must do its job so that all of us serve the people of Kenya. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support with the rider that parliament will do its job so that Kenyans are served, and they are served to the maximum. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also stand to, from the get-go, support the report from the committee. And Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that number one, that for these particular nominees, we just want to let them know that yes, some of them have been given a second chance against what the public really wished. And we want them to make sure that they do a good job. Honorable Speaker, I also want to just acknowledge the fact that from our end, we submitted our experts and donated our experts to the president. And I want to wish the Honorable Mbadi, the Honorable Joho, the Honorable Oparanya, and the Honorable Opio the very best. Honorable Speaker, my third point, I also just want to say that the public was witnessed how great the Omogusi community also gave one of our sons, who is a lawyer, but he did show that he can actually be competent in the ministry within which he has been supported. Honorable Speaker, finally, I want to say that as gender, some of us are not blind to gender. And we did see and we support the committee on the rejection of the gender nominee, and we'd like to ask the president to give us another competent nominee. And Honorable Speaker, as has been said before, the gender nominee does not have to be a woman. Even someone like Honorable Wanjala can be a very good minister for gender. And so, Honorable Speaker, we just want to say that we support the competence and we want to have competent people. And just to let the CS nominees know that yes, you have been approved, but if you do not do your work well, we will make sure that we come back here and impeach you. For now, we wish you the best. Thank you.
Honorable Tandaza.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Kwanza niseme kwamba sio mkono peke yake ninaunga, lakini naunga ripoti hii ya kamati pamoja na miguu yangu na kichwa na nywele na macho na kila kitu, kwa sababu hakuna wakati ambayo kamati imeweza kufanya kazi nzuri kama hii, ambapo imetoa ripoti yake bila kushawishiwa na mtu kuona kwamba huyu anafaa, na yule ambao kamati wakaona kwamba haifai wakaweza kutamka kwamba hawafai. Nichukue fursa hii kumshukuru Rais kwa kuweza kumteua tena kwa mara ya pili aliyekuwa waziri mstahiki gavana wa kwanza wa Kwale Salim Mvurya, ambaye katika kazi yake ambayo aliifanya na imani katika zile memoranda ambazo ziliweza kupelekwa, hakukuwa na moja ambayo ilikuwa inamkashifu waziri Salim Mvurya. Ukiangalia katika mapato yake, licha ya kuwa amekuwa amehudumu kuwa waziri kwa kipindi karibu miaka miwili, utakuta bado pato lake ni chini ya milioni 200. Hili ilikuwa ni jambo la kushangaza kwa Wakenya, kwani wanajiuliza wakati mawaziri wengine kwa muda huu wameweza kupata zaidi ya milioni 300 na zaidi, mbona yeye bado hajapata hata zaidi ya milioni 100? Na hili ni wazi ya kwamba yeye ni mwadilifu, anafanya kazi kwa kutambua Wakenya, na hilo ndio jukumu la mawaziri. Pia nichukue fursa hii kushukuru kuteuliwa kwa Hassan Joho, ambaye amepatiwa ile wizara ambayo ni changa lakini na matumaini makubwa katika ekonomi ya Kenya. Sio watu wa pwani peke yake ambao wako na bahari Hindi, lakini ina nafasi ya kuajiri na kuleta fedha nyingi katika hii nchi ya Kenya, na imani kwamba waziri aliyoteuliwa ana tajriba ya kuweza kufufua wizara hiyo na kuleta mapato makubwa. Asante.
Member for Lugari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I first want to thank the President for finding it fit to pick experts from my party, and especially Honorable Paranya, who is known for being a performer in his work. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the committee. I think in the life of Parliament, the vetting committee did its work very transparently. I've gone through the report. It is very exhaustive on every nominee. And I want to plead with my brothers who feel that the rejected candidate be given a chance, that please, there are better people in that community. There are more competent women in this country. That is not the way to go. The way to go is that Gen Z were asking for good governance. They're asking for competencies. They're asking for people value. So let us give them those people. Finally, Mr. Speaker, let the cabinet be on notice that as we sit here, we will continue to oversight to ensure that Kenyans get value for money. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Garissa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, also for giving me this opportunity to add my voice on the motion and the debate that is going on. Mr. Speaker, I want first of all to congratulate the committee, the appointment committee, for the good work and extensive work they have done and the extensive report they have produced on this document. And I want to support with reservation on the last nominee who was rejected. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, we want to thank the President as members from the region of Northern Kenya for appointing my former Member of Parliament, Honorable Aden Duele, and there's no doubt about his competency. And all those who are reappointed, Honorable Chirchir, Honorable Miano, Honorable Saipan, and Honorable Kindiki. Honorable Kindiki has been said to be one of the performers. However, I have an issue with that as well, because in my region where I come from, I think there is a problem of abduction, and which the Honorable Minister has failed to address. On the objection I have on the report of the rejection of the nominee for Honorable Soy, Mr. Speaker, having read this report, I feel Soy is one of the most competent persons. I've never met Soy, I don't know her, but I think she's one of the competent people in terms of documents, in terms of integrity. There is no memorandum on her on this bill. The only thing I see that she was judged on was the issue of public speaking, her inability to address her issues, because this cabinet nominee has served in this country. She's only one of the only ministers, nominees, who have served over the last 30 years in many ministries and departments in this country. There is no logic in telling us that the lady does not meet the expectations.
Jeho. Give her the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to thank the President of this great nation for listening to Kenyans, for listening to the Gen Zs, for listening to members of this country, Mr. Speaker, for accepting to redo his cabinet, Mr. Speaker. I equally want to thank the Honorable, His Excellency, the Prime Minister, our Baba, the only Baba we have in this nation, Mr. Speaker, for donating, Mr. Speaker, 5 experts. Indeed, the nation saw Baba donated 5 experts. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the man of the moment, Mr. Speaker, the Right Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, once described as academic dwarf, and now became an academic giant, Mr. Speaker. I want to applaud him. Indeed, academic does not matter. A Harvard student pursuing masters in leadership, Mr. Speaker. We are waiting for his PhD, Mr. Speaker. Professor Ali Hassan Joho. We are indeed waiting for that doctorate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the President for nominating again our kingpin, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Duale. There is no apology about that, Mr. Speaker. He's the kingpin for the northeastern province, Mr. Speaker. The only...
Rebecca Tonkei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this moment to congratulate the nominees for CSS. Honorable Speaker, I want to say from the onset, the vetting committee did an excellent report, and the work you did is excellent. And I stand here to support your approval of the 19 CSS. Honorable Speaker, when you look at Honorable CS Soipan, I want to thank His Excellency, the President, for nominating her once again to be a CS. The lady did an excellent job, and those are the kind of ladies, Honorable Speaker, we support. And Honorable Speaker, looking at Honorable Bandi, we all agree that this has been a chair for the Budget Committee, and he did an excellent job while there. So I know he's going to give us service, and therefore, the members that have been appointed, Honorable Speaker, are going to do an excellent job, which Kenyans are longing for. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we are not supporting anybody because of region, but we are supporting people who will serve this country. When you look at the youth who has been appointed, Eric who has been appointed as the CS irrigation for water. Honorable Speaker, I know the young man, and I know he's going to do an excellent job because he performed well, even in the interview, which shows that he knows what he's going to do. And therefore, I support the report. Thank you.
Yes. Take your seats. Take your seats. Member for Lurambi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support the report. And Honorable Speaker, I want to applaud the vetting committee, which was chaired by yourself, for the great work that you did. Honorable Speaker, I had an opportunity on Sunday to sit in the gallery during the vetting of the Honorable Wycliffe Oparanya, and I saw the intensity in the room, the kind of work you did, how you scrutinized every corner and everything during the exercise, and I want to applaud you. However, Honorable Speaker, may I add my voice concerning the issue of Madam Soy? I do not know her in person, but I just want to think that people are talented differently. Honorable Speaker, this lady, looking at some of the history that she has and what she has done, and as a career civil servant, I think she was judged harshly. And therefore, as a man who prays, I pray that she'll have an opportunity, because even in the church, Honorable Speaker, you can have a preacher who doesn't know how to preach well or speak well, but when he touches on people, miracles happen. Miracles happen just by touching. Therefore, just miracles happen. Protect me from Shakil. So I pray that it works out for her. I support this report, and I say thank you for the good work you did, and wish all the members well as they get into their new offices. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Molo. Now you, members, can you reduce the time even further? we are coming to an end. Go on, Kimani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First of all, having watched the proceedings of the vetting exercise, Honorable Speaker, I want to applaud you, and there was really a lot to learn from yourself when you chaired that committee. You gave everyone a chance to be heard. You gave the nominees an ample time to execute their matters, and you gave the members of that committee ample time to ask their questions. So we want to applaud you, and you have a lot to learn from that. I would like to congratulate, to single out CPA Bandi, being the cabinet nominee for the Ministry of Finance, as someone the Committee of Finance and National Planning will be closely working with. One of the issues that he raised is on the Finance Bill, Honorable Speaker, of 2024. And as we consider various ways of making sure that we have a predictable tax environment, this time around we need to separate the different statutes instead of doing the one omnibus finance bill, Honorable Speaker. That perhaps he and his team need to craft a tax procedures amendment bill, an income tax amendment bill, a VAT amendment bill, an excise duty amendment bill, and miscellaneous and fees amendment bill, so that Kenyans have ample time to deliberate on these particular matters, because of course not many of the people are tax experts, and therefore the confusion that came around that, Honorable Speaker, even led to what happened after the aftermath of the Finance Bill of 2024, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like also to congratulate one Dr. Margaret Jambura as a nominee from our home county of Nakuru, and one Engineer Eric Murithi, who is now going to be the youngest cabinet secretary, and this means that the president has a space of young people and willing to mentor us to be great leaders in this country, Honorable Speaker. And allow me.
Over, Beatrice Kamei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. On the onset, I want to thank the committee for the job well done under your chairmanship. I appreciate the work done, but however, Honorable Speaker, I'm so disappointed with the rejection of one Stella Soy, Honorable Speaker. Looking at her CV, this is a well-read lady. This is a lady that has done a lot, having rose to the position of a DC. Honorable Speaker, she is championed for the work of women, empowerment, issues against, she spoke against HIV and AIDS. It is only that maybe, Honorable Speaker, according to the committee, she was not eloquent. But I want to believe, Honorable Speaker, just like some of the members have said, there are other ways in which one can actually communicate. I feel sad, but I want to believe, Honorable Speaker, she had the opportunity. But now I'm praying that she gets another position. Honorable Speaker, I was asking myself, is it because she was the last one to be vetted and the committee were tired and felt like she's not the best? I hereby feel, Honorable Speaker, that she can still be given another chance. Kandie was rejected, but when she came back to the House, she was actually saved. Just the same with Malosa. So, Honorable Speaker, what is it that we can do to save this very honorable lady? The fact that she transited from one job to another is not a yardstick to say that she's not able. That is just to tell us that she can work in this position and many other positions, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, I want to say that Stella Soy can still be given that opportunity. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Mbui, member for Kitui Rural.
Mboni.
David Mboni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also say one or two things about this report. On the onset, I support the report. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the President for nominating Honorable Bandi to be the CS National Treasury and Economic Planning, because I know Bandi is a very honest man, hardworking, and I know he's going to bring changes in the National Treasury. Mr. Speaker, what this country is facing is bad economic policies, bad tax measures, and poor financial management. Mr. Speaker, the first thing which Bandi should do is to bring reasonable budget. I believe the budget we have been getting is too big, such a way that we have to do a lot of tax measures which impacts negatively to the lives of people. I believe the budget which we have been having, we can do with 30% reduction of the budget, and we'll be very well in place to move. Mr. Speaker, I also believe that we need to subject the budget estimates to public participation the way we do to finance bill, because there's a lot of wastage in the budget, and we need to reduce auxiliary measures and fiscal consultation so that we can be able to reduce budget and reduce wastage. Things like tea, flowers, unnecessary conferences and trainings should not be really be in a budget. I believe Honorable Bandi is going to reduce the Passadi cars, which were there during the former president, Uhuru, when he was minister.
Owen Bayer.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the office of a cabinet secretary is a high office, and any person that this House approves to sit as a cabinet secretary must rise above board. They might rise above politics, they might rise above all other prejudices that they have to serve the country. They must also, Honorable Speaker, be loyal to one center of power. They must be loyal to the people of Kenya, not themselves. They have to drop all other things about themselves and serve this country. The reason that we find ourselves in this space today is because cabinet secretaries that we vetted in this House went there as individuals. They looked for fame, they looked for wealth, they looked for things that did not help us to unify this country. But this cabinet, as put together now, and as we vote for it in a few minutes, Honorable Speaker, is a cabinet of national unity that we must bring the country together so that this country prospers as the nation of Kenya and not many nations put together. Honorable Speaker, I pray that as we approve these members of the new cabinet, go in there to work for Kenyans. They should not go there to work for their stomachs or work for their tribes or work for their families. They are going in there as cabinet secretary of the government of Kenya for the state of Kenya, and they must serve this country indiscriminately. So, Honorable Speaker, as we take our vote, I want to take a vote today, knowing I'm voting a cabinet that will unify the country, that will serve the country, that they will stop the corruption, that they will stop the opulence, that they will stop being individuals, but serve a country called Kenya. And that's why I will vote today to pass this cabinet. And I hope everybody else, Honorable Speaker, does that. We vote so that we consolidate the...
Mbeyu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank the advisors to the President for coming up with this cabinet. Mr. Speaker, we thank all stakeholders involved in this cabinet. I want to thank your committee, Mr. Speaker, for vetting these nominees. Mr. Speaker, I'll speak because I'm a victim of the gender ministry in this House, and my advice, I'll not speak about Stella. I saw how she went through the vetting. She had no much information about the gender docket, and I'm one leader. Just because I'm a lady, I will not support a lady who would not, and we were really ashamed of this. Mr. Speaker, my advice to the Kenyans, let the advisors look for a person living with a disability to take over the gender docket. Would be fully cabinet formed constitutionally because we have the youth, we have the women, we have the men in this cabinet. Mr. Speaker, we want to congratulate our team from ODM, Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Honorable Badi, Honorable Wandai, and Honorable Oparanya for being the best in the vetting. Mr. Speaker, you saw the eloquence, the firmness, the confidence Hassan Joho had in this vetting. We want to congratulate him. He has our support and will support all the members in this cabinet today. And we say yes to all the vetted nominees. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order. Take your seats. Order, honorable members. I thought I would exercise discretion to extend, but I'm advised that this motion takes 3 hours. We've done 3 hours. Order. That's what I said, but I've been advised differently. And I take advice. It's a special motion. I thought it was an ordinary motion. It's a special motion. It takes 3 hours. You passed a resolution yourselves at the beginning of the session. I was given and I approved an amendment to the motion by the member for Vihiga County. But she has since come to the chair and told me she has no intention of prosecuting it. I want her just to confirm.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Before I prosecute what you have said about my bringing up an amendment, before I do it, Mr. Speaker, I also want to congratulate those who have done it,
Order. I only wanted one thing from you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I oblige. I wish to withdraw the amendment that I wanted to make. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That being the case, I now call the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know there are quite a number of members who are asking me to donate, but procedurally, you know, I'm not allowed to donate at the conclusion of debate, as you did, and therefore want to beg that you do allow me to reply. Honorable Speaker, as I thanked the committee in moving, Honorable Speaker, I forgot to thank our staff of the Parliamentary Service Commission, who diligently worked with us at committee stage throughout the sittings from Wednesday evening all the way to this morning. Honorable Speaker, we have very diligent staff members, some who did not sleep for 2 days. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, you know, we would have tabled this motion on Tuesday, but we couldn't because we had to allow our staff members on Monday, at least the afternoon, to take a break. And I must take this opportunity to thank them profoundly for their sacrifice and the time they put in to make sure, under the able leadership of Nicholas Emigen, one of our directors, Honorable Speaker, to make sure that we had a report ready in time. Honorable Speaker, allow me also to thank all the members who have contributed in support and even the differing opinions to this motion for approval of the nominees that have been proposed for approval and for the rejection of the one nominee, Honorable Speaker, who I said in moving is not an indictment as to her ability to serve in any other capacity. And I would encourage His Excellency the President, should he find another position that this Stella Soy can serve in, and since she's still an officer in government, then he has the prerogative to allow her to serve in any other capacity, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me also note that for the first time, Honorable Speaker, we were able to vet nominees throughout a weekend, and not just throughout a weekend, as is customary, Honorable Speaker. I know members, we are accustomed that when we are working over the weekend, we retreat to hotels. But Honorable Speaker, you remember me and yourself committing to the country that upon completion of Bunge Towers, we would utilize more of the space that we have in Parliament. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to thank you as the chairperson of the Parliamentary Service Commission, that leading by example and in line with the austerity measures being instituted across all arms of government, for the first time, a committee chaired by none other than the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, who happens to be our speaker, a committee where both the leadership of the minority and majority sit in, and at least another 4 chairs of committees, besides the other ranking members who serve in this appointments committee. We sat throughout the weekend at County Hall. And County Hall chambers, mini chambers, became our home throughout the weekend. We prayed there, worshiped there on Friday for our Muslim brothers. We had a room where our Muslim brothers were praying from. And even on Sunday, those of us like me and yourself, Honorable Speaker, who are Christians, you had your morning mass at 7 a.m. in County Hall. And I had my 10 a.m. 15 minutes break at County Hall. And this is the new spirit, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is the spirit that we want to set for the rest of the other arms of government. That we can have austerity measures where we all retreat and do our work within the precincts of Parliament and other arms of government, because there are many government institutions that we can take advantage of and use to save on the unnecessary expenditure that would otherwise have incurred. Honorable Speaker, lastly, Honorable Speaker, let me thank all these nominees, including the gentleman and honorable member for Ugunja constituency and minority leader, the Honorable Pio Andai, the Honorable John Buddy, who is now destined to take over upon approval by this House, if you agree to approve, our National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, these are extraordinary times that call for extraordinary men to the service of their nation. The Honorable Pio Andai, the Honorable John Buddy are among us here as colleagues. Should we, and when we approve this motion, Honorable Speaker, these 2 honorable members will go now to join the executive. I want to speak to the Honorable Andai, who is here, because John Buddy is here. When you get to the other side, the Honorable John Andai, Opio Andai, and the Honorable John Buddy, when you do get to the other side, remember this is a house that has vetted you, and if we approve you, that has approved you. You will not be going to the other side in the executive to serve these members of Parliament, but these members of Parliament represent the people of Kenya. Please go and serve the people of Kenya. Serve them diligently, fairly. Ensure that the last mile connectivity program is rolled out across the country without favor, without discrimination, and knowing where you are coming from, Honorable Andai. Know that there are parts of this country that have been marginalized over the years. Know it may be fashionable for the leader of majority, because of the region I come from, to speak about 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. But remember, as I speak about 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling, there are corners of this republic where young children and even people who are my age have never seen electricity in their homes. There are places in this country, Honorable Andai. My constituency, Kikuyu, is at 85 to 87% connectivity. Baringo County as a whole is at 35% connectivity. Marsabit County, parts of Luo Nyanza, because of, it is true, parts of Luo Nyanza, people have never seen electricity. There are parts of Luo Nyanza, Honorable Speaker, I have been to, where if you go to Suba constituency, both Subas, the first inch of tarmac was only seen in the recent past. These are injustices John Buddy, now coming from Suba constituency, must bring to an end. We must serve this country as leaders who know that we are serving one people in one country that is indivisible. We must never allow again politics and parochial politics to divide our people. Honorable Speaker, if you look at what is happening today in the United Kingdom, if you see what is happening today in the United Kingdom, Honorable Speaker, we were a colony of the Great Britain or the United Kingdom. Honorable Speaker, if you see what is happening in the United Kingdom today, dear Kenyans, you will know that any country can get lost at the fraction of a second.
What's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, when the Honorable Junet wants to inform me.
No, it's not Junet. The Honorable Ado has a point of order to begin with. Ado?
You have the mic.
Thank you, Speaker. The words of the majority leader are really, really touching. But is that the reality on the ground in Kenya? The inequality, lack of equity is there. So let's not just make it lip service.
What is out
and
of
make
order?
it. That's my point of order, Mr.
Ado, what
Speaker.
is out of order?
That is my point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Honorable Ado, that is not a point of order. Yes, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I am very happy that the majority leaders allowed me to inform you. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader has spoken that the ministers must serve the country. Because in this country now we are suffering. Because we have a deputy president who's serving only one region, Mr. Speaker. And the region I come from are almost thinking of having their own deputy also.
Order.
Can we have people who are serving the country in totality, Mr. Speaker?
Order.
Honorable Speaker, I was saying, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Cabinet Secretary nominees, if approved by this House, must serve the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, this morning I had an engagement with a relative in the UK who was telling me that what we are seeing happening in the UK today, and that's the point I was at before the Honorable Ado interrupted with the point of order, can happen to any country. Let us not take it for granted that we have a country that stands united. Let us never take it for granted that we have one people who are indivisible, save for our politics. We must never allow our politics to divide our people. Today, whether you are Muslim, whether you are Christian, whether you are of Asian descent or African descent in the UK, people are not sleeping. They don't feel safe. For the first time, I've seen the Kenyan embassy in the UK, in London, give an advisory to Kenyans in London. For the first time. Since I became a grown-up, Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether before that they had ever done so. But Honorable Speaker, I want to plead with us. Let us support this motion. Let us send out these gentlemen and ladies to serve the people of Kenya, and as they serve the people of Kenya, to remember to serve them with the highest degree of integrity, with decorum, and with respect to the people of Kenya. I beg to reply and beg for your support.
Order, honorable members. Take order. Betsimba, take your seat. Who does she want to inform? The debate is over. Honorable members, I want now to put the question. One, before I do that, if Honorable Mbadi and Wandai are in the chamber, let them stay at the back. We'll allow them in after the vote. They cannot vote in their own cause. Number two, you'll have two votes. The first one on the nominees from 1 to 19. Then the second one is on the rejection. On the rejection, they don't go together. So I now put the question, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Committee on Appointments in its second report on the vetting of the nominees for appointment to office of Cabinet Secretaries laid on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 7th August 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2) of the Constitution and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House, 1, approves the appointment of the following persons as Cabinet Secretaries. Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, EGH, Ministry of Interior and National Administration. Dr. Deborah Mulongo Barasa, Minister of Health. Honorable Alice Wahome, EGH, Minister of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. Mr. Julius Migos Ogamba, EBS, Minister of Education. Honorable Rosalinda Soipan Tuya, EGH, Minister of Defense. Dr. Andrew Mwihia Karanja, Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Development. Honorable Aden Bare Duale, EGH, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. Mr. Eric Murith Muuga, Minister of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. Mr. Davis Chirchir, EGH, Minister of Roads and Transport. Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu, Minister of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy. Honorable John Bandi Ngongo, EGH, the National Treasury and Economic Planning. Honorable Salim Mvuria Mgala, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. Ms. Rebecca Miano, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. Honorable James Opio Wandai, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. Honorable Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. Honorable Dr. Alfred Nganga Mutua, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Labor and Social Protection. Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Order. Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME Development. Honorable Justin Bedan Njoka Muturi, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Public Service and Human Capital Development. Honorable members at the bar, take your seats. The nearest seat. The nearest seat. Nguna, that is not the nearest seat you are going to. Order, honorable members. Is Honorable Mbandi in the house? Where is he? Yeah, we said we'll call them in after the vote. Where is he? He will hold on out there. So having called all those 19 names, now I put the question as men as of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Order 2. rejects the appointment of Ms. Stella Soy Langat, as the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Order. It is clear there are no numbers to claim a division. Honorable members, you may now call in your colleagues who are exiting. Order. Take your seats. Honorable Amboka. Okay. Honorable Mbande and Wandai, you may now enter the chamber and take your seats. No, they are not. Order. Order. Order, honorable members. Order. Order, Alice. Order. Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable members, after the vote, order. And you know we have a precedent to this. Having taken the vote, this House will from this evening lose 2 members to the executive. And as we did last time with our colleagues, Honorable Duale and Alice Wahome, I'll give each one of the 2 an opportunity to say something to the House. Each one will have no more than 5 minutes. I'll start with the Honorable Wandai.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, allow me, following the communication by the Honorable Speaker, to say a few things as I hand over the instruments of the office of the leader of the minority party to the new office holder. My tenure as the leader of the minority party of the National Assembly in the 13th Parliament under Article 108 of the Constitution has now come to an end. Honorable Speaker, it is important that I do some reflection. For the time I've been in this House, now close to 12 years. Honorable Speaker, let me share with you, honorable members, one of my most epic moments during my service in this House as a legislator. You will recall, I'm sure, that in the 11th Parliament, during my first term, I was actually suspended from the service of this House on the 31st March 2016 for the remainder of the session. Those days, now, sessions used to begin from 1st January to end of December, I think. So I was suspended for the remainder of the session on 31st March 2016. of the decision of the House. Now, this prompted the House, that's the most important point really here. This prompted the House to re-examine the provisions of our standing orders. And following extensive consideration of the matter by the Committee of Powers and Privileges and incorporating the guidance of the courts, it was recommended that the National Assembly standing orders be reviewed to accord a member accused of breach of parliamentary privilege fair hearing and to cover the unequal treatment of the same offense at different times of the session. Consequently, a standing order 110B was introduced to provide for an elaborate process for appeal against the suspension, and standing order 111 was amended to provide for a maximum period of suspension of 90 days. Therefore, on a positive note, this incident has significantly contributed to the jurisprudence of this august House. Honorable Speaker, for close to 2 years of my service as leader of the minority party in this parliament, I have continuously championed the minority position on issues under consideration and helped to some extent to contribute to the legislative process through open engagement. From time to time, and whenever necessary, I have had to consult and strike compromises with the majority party in the best interest of the public. Indeed, as with any other office holder, during the discharge of their duty, milestones have been achieved. Shoulders have been rubbed, sometimes the wrong way, and challenges have been experienced. Honorable Speaker, I wish to acknowledge the immense support of the parliamentary staff during my approximately 12 years of service in this House. Your office, Mr. Speaker, and that of the clerk, Mr. Samuel Njoroge, have been very instrumental in the legislative process through impartial professional guidance and administrative facilitation. For this, I will forever be truly indebted to these officers and the very hardworking officers. In addition, I wish to appreciate my able staff who work closely with me. I wish them all the best, and I will forever again remain indebted for their support. Asanteni sana. Honorable Speaker, President John F. Kennedy of the US said during an address in the Assembly Hall at the Polskach in Frankfurt in 1963, and I quote, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future." Honorable Speaker, allow me to express my special gratitude to my party leader, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Baba, for enabling my appointment as the leader of the minority party in September 2022. I am also grateful to the membership of the minority party for their support and cooperation during the close to 2 years of service as the leader of the minority party. Honorable Speaker, I cannot end without thanking the President of the Republic of Kenya. I repeat. Okay. Honorable Speaker, I cannot end without thanking the President of the Republic of Kenya. His Excellency William Ruto, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, PhD, for granting me this historic opportunity to serve my country as Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. I wish to reiterate, Honorable Speaker, that this country is much bigger than each and every one of us. And we have a duty and obligation to protect and nurture it for the present and future generations. Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to congratulate my very able successor, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, MP, as he takes over the office of the leader of the minority party. Honorable Speaker, you will agree with me that Honorable Mohammed, who completes his tenure as the minority party whip today, has with legendary humor and wit effectively discharged his role to the House and to the party. Honorable Mohammed, to you now. This is not an opportunity for you to fill my shoes. It is an opportunity to take this role to greater heights in different shoes if need be. I wish you all the best in your new assignment. Honorable Speaker, finally, allow me to hand over. Okay, fine. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, allow me to thank all my colleague members, now from both sides of the divide, for the immense support and cooperation you have accorded me. And I want to assure you that as I transit to the executive, my doors shall remain open. And we shall continue to engage one another as we together build this country and protect it from any attempts to sabotage it by whomsoever. Honorable Speaker, I want to conclude, Honorable Speaker, by thanking all of you. Asanteni sana.
Honorable Mbadi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mine may be a little longer because I've been here longer than Honorable Wandai. But Honorable Speaker, allow me to start by saying that today, as I make this final contribution on the floor of this Honorable House, with a lot of humility, gratitude, and honor, I want to give special thanks to the Almighty God, who gave me the energy and the noble commitment to stay focused on my role as Suba South MP for nearly 2 decades. Like all members who have spoken in this House, these wonderful debates approving our nominations, it's going to be a great wrench to leave the House. But as the book of Ecclesiastes 3:1-8 says, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Today comes that day to say goodbye to the Legislative Assembly. Honorable Speaker, as you are all aware, 2 weeks ago, His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, nominated me as the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, an appointment which I heartily accepted. Consequently, I have since been vetted by the Committee on Appointments and approved by this House to assume the new role. I want to thank you, members who have approved my nomination. By extending this hand of cooperation, may I exceptionally thank His Excellency the President for trust he bestowed upon me to sit at the topmost decision-making organ of the country. I am humbled by the warm gesture and remain mindful of the aspirations and expectations of Kenyans as I assume the office as the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Economic Planning. Simply put, the people of Kenya are entrusting me with their granary. Honorable Speaker, in the backdrop of this long political journey, I wish to acknowledge my party leader, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and the entire ODM fraternity, who imparted the foundations of knowledge and skills on leadership, as well as trusting me with party leadership positions. I am equally indebted to the space to ride on the same party ticket to Parliament for a record 17 years, priding myself as one of the longest-serving members of this House. I have said one of the longest. The Honorable Shakil Shabir is complaining, but I've said one of the longest. The opportunity to serve as an assistant minister during the Grand Coalition government, minority leader in the 12th Parliament, Public Accounts Committee chair, and of course, the chairmanship of ODM for a decade. I honestly appreciate your immense support, contribution, and encouragement. Your valuable contribution will always remain treasured in my heart forever. Honorable Speaker, on social aspect or social dimension of this undertaking have been answered to my family, beginning with my late parents for their blessings that I carry with me today to greatness. To my beloved wife, Rhoda Mbadi, and my children, I am forever indebted to you for being my sounding board, always encouraging and pushing me to excel and be the best father and husband. Your full-time prayers, guidance, wisdom, and knowledge in the entire political journey gave me the zeal to proceed even during my lowest moments, and there were many. To my brothers, and that is where I'm going to end my family issues, may God bless you for your relentless efforts to support my academic journey and upbringing, always stepping in for our parents. Exceptional appreciation will go to two of my brothers, Stephen Ogola and Maurice Ogalo. If not for you, I would have dropped out of school. My brother, Stephen Ogola, I will never forget how you braved the harsh, cold weather of Kericho tea plantations, denying yourself the basics to get me school fees from your meager savings. I salute you. How I wish our late parents were alive to witness this historic moment. They have always wanted the best for us. May God keep their soul in eternal peace. And to the people of Suba South, I am deeply conscious of the fact that the thrust of dynamic debates and my parliamentary standing on the relevant issues was planted in me at a time of curious and unrelenting search for leadership position by you, my constituents, for 3 terms. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve you as your member of parliament for 15 years. Thank you for your support, organic love, and for ensuring that I won with increased majorities over the years. Honorable Speaker, as a community, we did exceedingly well, utilizing NGCDF to ensure that our children continue to access quality education by strategically renovating and expanding our educational infrastructure and bursaries to cope with the number of students enrolling in schools. We leverage the participation of our people in meaningful development to transform lives through bigger, broader, better managed, and well-resourced constituency projects. We enhance participatory approaches within the constituency and ensuring judicial use of public resources and many more. Thank you once again for the opportunity to be your member of parliament. And now to my fellow Kenyans. I am overwhelmed by the messages of goodwill you sent before, during, and after my vetting. My heart is elated with the heartwarming compliments and well wishes I have received so far. This demonstrates the level of confidence and hope Kenyans have in me. And dear colleagues, now I come to members of the National Assembly. Dear colleagues, I have never shied from playing my role as a member of this House. I have diligently performed my legislative functions to the best of my knowledge for the last 17 years. To this day, I will cite a few. I have represented my constituents and special interests in the National Assembly as required. I have participated in deliberation and resolutions of issues of concern to the people. I go on record as the only member of this House who, after meticulously analyzing the budget managed to discover a fictitious computer error of Kenya shillings 10 billion in the budget estimates for the financial year 2011 and 2012, which the ministry later acknowledged. I have participated in the enactment of the legislations in accordance with the Constitution, notably being part of the legislative task force that drafted the Public Finance Management Act 2012. As a member of the Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee, I actively participated in the actualization of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, especially the enactment of legislations envisaged in the 5th schedule of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, you'll remember you were with me in the 10th Parliament. Being in CIOC was very lucrative in the sense that people really respected you. Even ministers were fighting to be in that committee, and I got the privilege to be in that committee, and I served diligently. In 2013, I'm proud to have brought an amendment to the VAT Act on basic commodities from being standard rated to either zero rated or exempt community, which at least helped in lowering cost of living. I have diligently participated in appropriation of funds, as you all know, but I have outstandingly played my role in oversighting national government expenditures. I've also participated in the development of policies of national importance, just to mention but a few. I take over as Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Speaker, for the National Treasury and Economic Planning. I am acutely aware that we are at the center of a storm, a tax storm, a debt storm, and an economic storm. Nonetheless, we must forge forward. Honorable Speaker, I am aware of the very important relationship between the Cabinet Secretary and the National Treasury and this House. I cannot achieve any mandates without the support of the National Parliament as a whole. And therefore, from the onset, I want to plead for the support of this House in the work we are going to do. Honorable Speaker, I am also aware that the Finance Bill 2024 was very controversial. I'm also cognizant to the fact that the bill had some positive pro-mwananchi provisions. I propose to salvage these proposals. Firstly, I am aware that the bill contained provisions to make the housing levy and post-retirement medical contributions deductible. This would have elevated the pain on the pay slips of salaried employees. Secondly, the Finance Bill proposed to restore the provision on relief because of doubt or difficulty in recovery of tax. This provision is important because it allows the Commissioner to deal with the difficulty in collection of taxes due to unavoidable circumstances on the part of the taxpayer. However, I'm also aware that honorable members have expressed dissatisfaction with the unfettered discretion of the Commissioner. We can harmonize these two positions for the benefit of Mwananchi and to stem the abuse of the tax abandonment provisions. Additionally, the bill was that was also amended by the House Committee, or proposed for amendment, to extend the tax amnesty program as was contained in Section 37E of the Tax Procedures Act for a further 1 year. This is a quick win for both the taxpayer and the government. The government would continue to recover uncollected taxes.
Give him the mic.
Actually almost done, Mr. Speaker. I think I have one and a half pages, if you don't mind. Further, the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning had proposed amendments to make ETIMs workable for small-scale farmers and businesses. We have opportunity to leverage on this good idea. Finally, we need to devise methods of expanding the tax base with a view to collecting taxes from the traditionally hard to collect sectors in line with the national tax policy. This is an important strategy to protect existing businesses from overtaxation. We must protect the goose that lays the golden egg as we find other geese to lay more eggs. Honorable Speaker, I am also aware that there have been concerns relating to the difficulty of doing business in this country. I intend to work with the Planning Department and other government departments and all the relevant stakeholders to review data and legislation with a view to enhancing the ease of doing business in Kenya. I am very passionate about the management of the Kenya Revenue Authority, Mr. Speaker. The first and most important aspect is that we must employ the principles of corporate governance in the management of KRA, just like any other corporate body. There should be a distinction between the role of the chairperson of the board as a whole, and the Commissioner General as the CEO and the management officers of KRA. Honorable Speaker, additionally, during the vetting, I spoke about recruitment of competent officers at the Kenya Revenue Authority. I favor the policy where graduate trainees were recruited and trained both in class and on job. We need to restore policies that worked at the Kenya Revenue Authority before. Mr. Speaker, and this is my last page, honorable members. Honorable Speaker, with regards to Article 223 of the Constitution, I've been very vocal. As you are aware, I did propose an amendment to the Public Finance Management Act with a view to establishing some checks and balances on the use of this article. The bill did not proceed. However, I intend to ensure the prudent use of Article 223 of the Constitution in the overall fiscal framework. I am convinced that if we manage our debt and the application of Article 223 of the Constitution, we will have better balanced budgets. We may not need to overtax because we will have reduced the expenditure side of the budget, and this article will not be misused during my tenure at the National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, I seek the support of this House as we seek to improve the economic environment for the better of all Kenyans. As I exit the place, I have called home for the last 17 years, Mr. Speaker. I live with my head high that I left an indelible mark in the history of this house. The strongest feeling I have today in this last speech is gratitude. That is gratitude for the opportunities that I have had and for many people I have served with, but most importantly, for the many moments of connection and witness to the lives of others, which I believe is the deepest privilege of public life. Mr. Speaker, before I say my final word, I want to thank all of us. I interacted with almost every member of this House in one way or the other. And Mr. Speaker, I would tell you that I enjoyed working with members of Parliament from across the aisle. I am one person who has very strong opinions, and members know. But we do it with decorum and with respect, because Kenya belongs to all of us. I want to thank the leadership of the majority, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, who is my friend and a professional colleague. At times, we didn't agree a lot, but outside the chambers, we were always friends, Mr. Speaker. He's one person who knows where I live and knows my children and wife, because we are friends. Honorable Owen Baya learned a lot from me, and you will continue to learn even in the executive. I wish when I'm leaving the executive, you also join the executive at one stage. And of course, the whip, this whip, I got him from the streets and mentored him to become who he is, Mr. Speaker. From the minority side, my successor as minority leader, Honorable Pio Wandai, you have done well in that office. And I want to thank you that even though it was very difficult to work with someone, you have succeeded, but we managed to strike a balance. And I want to thank all of you. Of course, Honorable Junet, we have come a long way. You know what we have gone through. I would not want to disclose in this house, but we have faced a lot of challenges. Mr. Speaker, to you, I want to be grateful to you again, once more. We have interacted a lot. We started in the opposition, working together. Of course, I found you in the government. Then we worked in the opposition. When we were facing a lot of frustration, Mr. Speaker, you remember one time I had to save you up there when some MPs wanted to kill you. And Mr. Speaker, I did my best to save you. But today, interestingly, we are finding ourselves somewhere again. So I just
strangely, one of those who attacked me is in this house.
Yes.
And it's a lady.
But in the spirit of forgiveness, Mr. Speaker, I want to just conclude by...
And she's my very good friend, I must say.
I want to give a parting shot. Mr. Speaker, if by any chance I offended anyone of you, all members, through my actions, I kindly ask for forgiveness. Equally, for all those who wronged me, I forgive you. And by the way, I don't even see. None of you actually wronged me. So, but if there is any who I may have forgotten, I forgive you. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, it's a very emotional moment. Imagine a place you have called home for 17 years, continuously. Now you are leaving to another uncharted waters. May I pray that God bless Kenya and God bless National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you.
Honorable members, I don't want to open any debate on this. On order, on behalf of the House, I'll give the leader of minority incoming 2 minutes and the leader of majority 2 minutes. If we open debate, each one of you has accolades for your colleagues. We'll come to that. We'll come to that. What is your point of order, Patrick? Commissioner Makau?
Mr. Speaker, with a lot of respects to Honorable Wandai and Honorable Badi, I listened to their very beautiful speeches. Honorable Speaker, the 12th Parliament who were in this House as Wiper Party, we supported Badi as a leader of minority in this House. We have supported Wandai. In their speech, Mr. Speaker, they have not even mentioned or appreciated Wiper members of Parliament who have been here, supported them relentlessly, Mr. Chairman.
You've made your point.
Mr. Speaker, is it possible for them to give them a second just to appreciate members of Wiper Party in this House, Mr. Speaker?
Order. Honorable Macau.
Honestly.
Commissioner Macau, take your seat. Order, honorable members. Honorable Macau. In law we say, expressio unias est excluso alteras. Meaning, expressio unias est excluso alteras. To specify one is to exclude another. So for them not to have mentioned you is neither here nor there. Don't solicit to be mentioned. Order, honorable members. Order, Shakil. Take your seat. Junet, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today is a bit heavy day for me, Mr. Speaker, because the people this House is losing today, Mr. Speaker, who are going to the executive, are people I have worked with very closely, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Mbadi was our minority leader in the 12th Parliament, and I was his whip, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Wandai is the outgoing minority leader, and I was his whip, Mr. Speaker. These are two gentlemen that I have worked with very closely in the House and at the party level, Mr. Speaker. And I am very sad because we will miss their leadership, we will miss their guidance, Mr. Speaker, as a minority side and at the party level, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, these two members of Parliament have really mentored many members of Parliament on our side, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to wish them well. I want to tell them that we will hold fort here if they leave us behind. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Mbadi is an amazing person, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mbadi has been the chairman of our party for the last 10 years. And he has guided this party in a manner that there were very little disputes, Mr. Speaker, in the party. And for members of a huge party like ODM, a national party like ODM, to have faith in someone, Mr. Speaker, it means a lot. It tells you what kind of a leader he is, Mr. Speaker. Coming back to the minority leader, Mr. Speaker, whom I've worked with him the last 2 years as the minority leader, Mr. Speaker, I can say this without fear of contradiction, that he's a resolute leader, Mr. Speaker, a man who's very consultative, Mr. Speaker, a leader who consults on each and every issue that is before the House, Mr. Speaker, a leader who knew how to interact with his members, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, the other day when he was speaking here, when he appeared, before the vetting committee, my heart went a bit, almost missed a second, Mr. Speaker, because I saw I will be lonely in this House, Mr. Speaker, as the whip, Mr. Speaker. But having said, Mr. Speaker, they have to go and serve the people of Kenya. I can tell you, when the nominees who came from the ODM appeared, Mr. Speaker, before the vetting committee, I was very proud, Mr. Speaker. The way they answered the questions, the way they know the dockets they have been taken to, the way they understand the challenges Kenyans are facing, Mr. Speaker, I was very happy because we have sent a team who understand what's expected of them, Mr. Speaker. People who are experts in their own fields, Mr. Speaker. People who know what they want to achieve. People who have a vision. People who will make sure that our party and our people are held high, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying this, that I want to assure them that now that we are remaining here, we will make sure that we do our work. We will continue from where they have stopped, and we wish them well. We want them to serve Kenyans, irrespective of their communities, irrespective of their parties, irrespective of where they came from. And I want to tell them that we will take care of our party, the people, some of us who are remaining. Mr. Speaker, lastly, I want to say that I am very proud also about my party and my party leader, Mr. Speaker. I can see my party leader has nurtured and brought up very serious leaders, Mr. Speaker. Because these are people who have grown under his wings, Mr. Speaker. I know what I'm talking about. And they know themselves what I'm talking about. I'm a very proud Kenyan today, Mr. Speaker, because it is good for a leader to nurture people to the extent where Honorable Mbadi and Honorable Wandai have reached. I must say kudos to my party leader, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga Baba, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I congratulate them and I wish them well. Thank you very much.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the House, allow me first to convey my congratulations to our two colleagues, the Honorable John Buddy and Honorable Opio Wandai. Honorable Speaker, as Honorable John Buddy has said, we are indeed friends. When I joined this House back in 2013, the Honorable John Buddy was a member of the Public Accounts Committee, and I happened in my first term to be elected as the Vice Chair of the Public Investments Committee. And being professional colleagues, we had a lot to learn from each other, or rather I had a lot to learn from the Honorable John Buddy, having been my senior, having joined the House 5 years ahead of me. And since that time, Honorable Speaker, even when he succeeded the late Honorable Nyenze as leader of minority, we worked very well together when he was leader of minority, and I was an ordinary member and later chairman of Budget and Appropriations Committee, where he also served me as a member of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and we immensely benefited from his knowledge on public finance matters, having been one of the architects of our Public Finance Management Act of 2012. And indeed, I would say without contradiction that the Honorable John Buddy is a member who has served this House, his constituency, and this country with diligence and with a lot of commitment. And I wish you well, my brother, as you go out to serve. As he said, Honorable Speaker, he's my friend. I have been to his house numerous times. I've had meals in his house. The only place I'm here to visit is his house in Suba, and I will soon be there, even as I oversight you as Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury. I will visit you. My brother, Opio and I, when we joined this House together with Opio and I back in 2013, as first-time members of Parliament, we got to know each other and became very good friends. And by coincidence, we were both nominated by our respective coalitions and parties to be leaders of minority and majority, respectively, Honorable Speaker. And we have worked very well with my brother Opio and I, Whip, Mheshimiwa Honorable Mwenje. It is true, Honorable Speaker, that we hold divergent views across the political aisle. But at the end of the day, we serve the same people in one country. And we must at all times remember that. And I must thank these two leaders because it has never been lost to them that everything we do here is in the best interest of the people of Kenya. It is true, as Honorable Pio Wandai has said, we have at times consulted. We have at times agreed to disagree and done so respectfully. At times we have agreed to agree and push business on the floor of this House very well. And even as I congratulate and welcome my brother Junet Mohammed as the new leader of minority in the House, congratulations, Honorable Junet. And I look forward to working with you in the best interest of the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, as these two honorable members depart from this House, one after 17 years, the other one after 12 years, you go out now to serve in the executive. We shall remain here as your friends, but to oversight you. You go out to serve the people of Kenya, but we represent those people that you are going out to serve. We shall oversight you without fear, without favor, whether you came from this House or you are among those of your colleagues who are coming from the private sector. And Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, allow me to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President for seeing beyond our political divide, for putting the nation ahead of all our political inclinations, Honorable Speaker. Difficult times like this our country is going through economically, difficult times as the world is going through, Honorable Speaker, I was saying earlier, if you look at all corners of the world, from the Far East to Asia to the West in Europe and the UK, as I mentioned, the whole world looks like is in turmoil. It calls great leaders like the Honorable, His Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, and the Right Honorable, His Excellency, Raila Amolo Odinga, to see beyond their regions, to see beyond their political inclinations and parties, and put the nation ahead of every other consideration, Honorable Speaker. How I wish and how I pray that those of us here as leaders, and even those who are outside this house, Honorable Speaker, as leaders, we will always put our country ahead of our selfish and parochial interests and politics at times, and put the nation first. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, allow me on behalf of the House to wish the Honorable Pio and I and my brother John Buddy all the best, as we say at the Alliance High School. Be strong to serve. Serve the nation diligently.
Thank you, honorable members. We're coming towards the end of that session. Honorable Milemba, you wanted to say something, but I have passed that. Allow me not to give you. Honorable members, I have a communication in furtherance of what we have done. This is on changes in the minority party leadership. Honorable members, Standing Order 21 provides for the election of a member as the leader of the minority party by the second largest party or coalition of parties in the National Assembly. Additionally, Standing Order 20A provides for the designation of parliamentary parties, leaders, and whips. Honorable members, and pursuant to the provision of Standing Orders 24 and 20A5, I wish to inform the House that I have received a letter from the Minority Party Whip communicating that the Azimio Coalition held a parliamentary group meeting on 6th August 2024 in Committee Room number 12, Main Parliament Building, to consider the election of the leader of the Minority Party and the Minority Party Whip in the National Assembly. The letter conveys that the meeting, which was attended by members of the coalition in the National Assembly and the Senate, elected the Honorable Junet Mohammed CBS MP as the leader of the Minority Party in the National Assembly, and 2, the Honorable Millie Odhiambo MP as the Minority Whip in the National Assembly. Honorable members, the Minority Party Whip has also attached the minutes of the proceedings of the meeting, thereby complying with the provisions of the standing orders and the precedents set by the House in such matters. In this regard, and pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 24, I wish to convey to the House the changes in the leadership of the Minority Party. The changes take effect from today, 7th August 2024, and affect all other offices and committee memberships designated for the leader of the Minority Party and the Minority Party Whip. This includes the House Business Committee, the Committee on Selection, the Committee on Appointments, and the Liaison Committee. Honorable members, on behalf of the House, and indeed on my own behalf, I take this opportunity to congratulate the Honorable Junet Mohammed, CBS MP, and the Honorable Millie Odhiambo MP on their election to the respective parliamentary leadership offices. I wish them well in their new roles. I also take this opportunity to sincerely thank the Honorable Opio and I, EGH MP, for diligently effectively carrying out his duties as leader of the Minority Party since 2022. We wish the Honorable Wandai success in his future endeavors as he serves the nation. The House is accordingly guided. Lastly, I also wish to, on behalf of myself, the Office of the Speaker, and indeed the entire Parliament, congratulate the Honorable Wandai, the Honorable John Buddy, for the enormous responsibility now placed on their shoulders, together with the rest of their colleagues who have been approved by this House, to go and carry out the duties of helping the President and the entire Cabinet to move this country forward. Like everybody has said, You are not ministers of any party. You are ministers of the Republic of Kenya. And you are going to work for the people of the Republic of Kenya. I want to see you in Turkana. I want to see you in Lamu. I want to see you in Kwale. I want to see you in Kiambu. I want to see you in Narok. I want to see you everywhere, in Trans Nzoia, wherever, so that the country can feel you, the country can appreciate you. Lastly, having been in this house and having interacted with your colleagues, I would be the saddest speaker in the history of the country to hear from members coming to me to complain that you can't open your doors for them, to complain that you can't take their calls, to complain that you can't return their calls, and to complain that you can't even attend to the issues they bring to you. Because you, more than anybody else, know what members of parliament go through, and you know what to do in response to issues that they require. So go out there and set the pace, mend those cabinet ministers who have not had the opportunity to come to this house on how you can all deal with members of parliament as they legislate, represent, and oversight you. Thank you very much, and I wish you well. And from here, I advise you that you go to whichever offices you came from, write your letters of resignation as members of parliament, and deliver them to the office of the Speaker. I wish you well. Wandai can now hand over to Junet without much drama.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. My singular duty now really is to do the handover, but I'd reserved this other aspect to this particular moment to heartily thank the people of Ugunja for having bestowed on me the honor of electing me 3 consecutive times to serve them, indeed as their maiden MP. I want to pray that the Almighty God guides the people of Ugunja in identifying my successor moving forward. Let me therefore take this chance, Honorable Speaker, to hand over this file to the incoming leader of the minority party as his starter pack. It carries, among other items, a brief detailing of the pending business in this house and the business that came from this house but is now pending in the Senate. The pending business in the pack includes 8 bills conceived by the National Dialogue Committee, NADCO, for consideration by Parliament, which are currently at different stages in the 2 houses. I wish to acknowledge that the IBC Amendment Bill 2024 has since been assented to and is now law. I urge the House to fast-track the consideration of the remaining bills so as to ensure that all the issues of concern that were presented to the NADCO by the people of Kenya are comprehensively addressed. Thank you very much. Karibu sana.
Thank you, honorable members. That ends that session of order. Of order number 11.
0.2 FM. We are in charge. More radio. 88.2 FM. We are in charge. More radio. 88.2 FM.